Hello, it's Dan, the real estate guy, coming to you today again from the home office. The topic for this video is magic keepers. I may have mentioned this term and kind of introduced you to it in another video, perhaps the duplex video. But I want to go over what I call a magic keeper, because I think that a lot of you can see yourself doing a magic keeper. A magic keeper answers two key questions to the positive. Whenever I buy an income-producing property, I basically have two questions. All right? First question is, when am I going to get my money out of that property that I have in it? All right? I want my money back out. You know, I want to use that money to buy another property. I don't want it in that property. After I have all of my money out, question two is, how much is that property going to pay me per month to own it? You see, I don't want to own it if it doesn't pay me. It's not that much fun to own a property that you can do it for free. You want it to pay you every month. So I know this is out of the box thinking for a lot of you, that when you think you buy an investment property, you go to a lender, a conventional lender, you find out that you have to put 30% down, for example, in many cases. You're going to put 30% down, you're going to get your loan, and you're hoping for a good cash-on-cash return. Well, that's one way to do it. There's nothing wrong with that method. That's the method most commonly used. If you've got great income, great job, great credit, lots of money in the bank, it's easier to get those kinds of deals. But let's say you want to challenge yourself a little bit, or you don't have the money. You want to get yourself a magic keeper. Because if you get a magic keeper, where you get to get your money back out and use the money again, then you're in good shape. I just said you didn't have any money. Well, the money that you purchased it with could also be investment funds. It's a little bit trickier and it's a little bit more advanced. But think about this. I do this on a regular basis, and we'll use a great example. A 4-unit building, all right? 4-unit buildings around here used to go as high as $500,000 at the top of the market. In today's market, you can probably buy them for $200,000 if they're beat up. If they're running and operating well and bringing in income, you can still probably get them for $225,000 up to, say, $300,000, somewhere in there, well below what they used to be. I purchased a 4-unit building that was vacant, needed a little bit of work to get it all rented up. I was able to buy that property for $162,000. All right? Now, I knew that I could get approximately $2,800 a month in rent from those 4 units. Okay? So what I did was I went in and I cleaned up the property. Didn't have to do a lot of work, but we had to do some carpets, some paint, clean up some bathrooms, clean up some older building, but it was in decent shape. Had to do some plumbing work, right? A little bit of electrical work, and landscaping, but we got it along pretty good. As I'm running up the units, I want to answer those two questions. When am I getting my $162,000 back? Because after all, I want to use that again. After I have it back, how much is this property going to pay me per month to own it? All right? So, the answer to those questions were, I went ahead and put a private money loan on it for $180,000. They gave me back all my $162,000. It also gave me back all the money that I put into the property and fix-up. Now, with these particular investors, the way it all shook out is actually the loan amount came out to about $182,600. So my payment per month, these are my long-term investors. Remember, even though rates went way down and moved around, they're still low. I believe these folks have been with me since the beginning. And I told them no matter how low rates go, and they were pretty low a few years ago, right? Even lower than now. I would continue to pay them 12%. That's 1% a month. Because it's a win-win. So on their $1,800, or I think it's $186,000, I think, or no, $182,600, I think is the loan. Yeah, so $182,600 means that my payment is $1,826 a month, right? It's right around $1,800 a month. The property brings in $2,800. So I have around $1,000 a month over the payment. Now, it's not all cash flow, right? I've got some property taxes to pay. You pay it twice a year. You're not paying it monthly. But you should think about the monthly cost of this building and what's really left. I have to pay for a county utility bill. It's not a lot, but I'm guessing it's at least $100 every other month. Might be $150 for 4 units. I'm paying the landscaper on that property probably $80 a month. I'm paying a property manager a set fee per unit. It's pretty small, but it's a set fee, right? So what are we adding up to? About so far, we're probably up to a couple $100, right? So you're really looking at not $1,000 a month cash flow positive, but you are looking at a nice positive cash flow, maybe in the area of $700 a month. All right, so was that worth it? I buy the property, in this case with my cash, I replace my cash because I want to use my cash again. All right, think about it. Theoretically, I could use that over and over again. I could buy 10 buildings with that same 162 if I could find the transactions. I could go through the process of getting them fixed up and rented up and then putting a 180 loan on it when it will bring in $2,800. If I was to do that 10 times, theoretically then around $700 times 10, $7,000 a month over the cost. Now, you're always going to have unexpected things pop up when you have that many properties. So you're not going to want to spend that $7,000 a month. You're probably going to want to let it build for 2 or 3 months. 14, 21,000. They have a reserve account for those properties. So if I had a laundry room plumbing situation come up, a couple $100 fix, we'd have a reserve account for that, right? Take care of it. Rents are coming in still, payments are going out, investors are winning, we're winning, tenants are winning, property managers getting paid, landscapers getting paid. Everyone's getting paid. It works. That's magic. When you can buy a property, get your money out, and give yourself a raise for doing so, you're on your way. That's what this program really is about. There's magic involved here. Right? I always consider it magic when that works. I like using private money for that reason. They understand these things. They'll fund them. You'll develop a track record and they'll fund more. And here's the next step. Let's say I decided after this thing was stabilized, after I'm making my payment to the investors, after we have them all rented up and the money's coming in, the money's going out, everyone's getting paid. How long will I have to leave that high interest rate loan on there before I can go to a lender and get a lower rate? The answer used to be 12 months. You used to have to wait until you made 12 monthly payments on that private money loan before I could go to a lender and say, hey, I'd like to replace that 12% money with whatever you have today for non-owner occupants. I don't want any money out. I just want to cover my costs, my closing costs, all that good stuff. I want to get that loan. I want to drop that payment. All right. It used to be 12 months. They even tried to make it 18 months one time. Right now, you should check with your lender, but you might be able to do that after 6 months. Right? If you could do that after 6 months, you can get 2 of these a year. That gives you plenty of time to track another one down. But think about how you could build up some income over the years. And by the way, remember, I picked up equity as well. I have since decided to sell that property. I've kept it a couple of years now. I've decided to sell that. It looks like the market might be hungry for 4 units. I put it on the market at $269. We had an agent call instead of bringing an offer. It hasn't showed up yet. But I'm figuring I will get somewhere around that price, or maybe a little bit less. We'll see. But I'm offering someone that can buy that cash flow. But let's go back and say, what if I decided not to sell that property? If I went to a lender and I got that 180, roughly 180,000 replaced by a new loan at whatever today's non-owner occupant interest rate is, it's a lot less than 12, isn't it? It's probably going to be in the area of 6 or 7, for non-owner occupant. We should check that out. I don't use those loans very often, but I should check that out, because that's going to drop that payment down to increase that cash flow and allow me to hold it long term if that's what I decide to do. Like I said, just recently I wanted to increase my volume on the buy-sell side, so I decided to take some of my Magic Keepers and sell them now, because they're worth so much more than what I paid a year ago, whatever they were. All right. So let's give another example of a Magic Keeper that I think is a very simple example, and will give you a better idea, or maybe not a better idea, but just kind of put this together for you. We just talked about a 4-unit building, but think about even just a duplex. I can think of one right off the top that I paid $85,000 for it, and yet each side was rented for $850 a month. Right? So what does that support under the 12% program? It supports a loan of $85,000. I paid $85,000. So I simply paid $85,000 cash for that property. Remember, if you have money partners, maybe they put up the money for that. Right? You bought it with that 85 grand. Now you're looking for someone who wants to go long term with you. Right? At least when I say long term on a hard money loan, we might be talking just to give you a 3-year note, a 2 or 3 year note, because that should give you plenty of time to have that property stabilized, show that you're making the payments, and then go to a lender and replace it with conventional financing and pay your investor back. Well, let's go back to the Magic Keeper concept. I buy this duplex for $85,000. I open escrow the next day, and I email my investors that have been with me 18, 20 years now, and I let them know that I purchased this duplex. Each side's renting for $850. How about a 3-year note, 12%, 3 years, at $85,000 is $850 a month. They look at that and they say, okay, yeah, you know what? One side makes the payment. The other side, $850, pays the property taxes, the gardener. In this case, we didn't have to use a gardener. The tenants are taking care of it. Pays the property manager. Pays the taxes, I think I may have mentioned, the insurance. We have insurance as well, small fee, but there's something there. So they look at that as going, okay, $850 is paying us on our loan, that's pretty safe, right? In their heads, they're probably thinking too, a duplex of that nature right now is probably worth $149 to $159 on the retail market. So they're safe. They have $85,000 loan on something that's probably worth $139 to $159, right? So they're safe. They have protection, equity. They know that $850 pays the payment. If one side went vacant, I would still be able to make that payment from that property. All right? Then they know, okay, the other side, $850, probably $200-300 a month is going to be expensive. It's not paid monthly, but if you spread it out, you take all those fees you pay and you look at it per month. What is it? It's probably between $300 and $400 a month. So they're thinking, well, it looks like Dan's going to make $450 to $500 positive cash flow after all of his expenses and after paying us. Seems good for him, seems good for us, so they like that. And that's a Magic Keeper. It answers those two questions. I buy that duplex for $85, I want to know, when am I getting it back? The answer in this case, about 2 weeks from now. Nice. That's nice. I'm getting my $85,000 back. It takes me about 2 weeks to arrange one of these. I have to wait for a deed and all this other stuff. I wait for the title company to do their thing. Because remember, the investors are getting title insurance. This is straight up. They have a first loan and deed of trust drawn by a title company. We'll go into that in another video. I pay for that note and deed of trust to be drawn. It's about $150. Here's the charge from the title company. So it's all win-win. It's all set up, and it answers the first question: when am I going to get the $85,000 back? And the answer was, a couple weeks from now. Good, right? Question 2: after I have my $85,000 back, how much is this property going to pay me to own it? Because I don't want to own it if it doesn't pay me. In this answer, this particular property, $400 to $500 a month positive flow, as long as I keep it rented. All right. There'll be some maintenance along the way. Usually, when I buy a duplex, the tenants want to point out things that don't work right away, and what I do is I fix them. I want to make sure that things work. This particular one had an old 1960-something oven. We put a new one in. So you'll have a little bit of cost here and there, but you're settling down, you're making this thing stable, you're making your tenants happy so they pay their rent. Oven needs to be replaced, you replace it. Remember, it's always win-win. Tenants are winning, your investors winning, you're winning. Eventually a conventional lender will win if you decide to keep the property and pay your investor back. Now let's talk about what happens when that part of the deal happens. You pay that investor back with a long-term 30-year loan, right? His first question is, do you have another deal for me? He doesn't want the money, he wants the interest. He wants that $850 a month. He doesn't want the $85,000. Right? He wants those are his soldiers marching for him 24/7. He doesn't want them parked in a bank paying whatever they pay, near nothing in interest. So it's always everybody winning here. And that's the way to do it. So that's the Magic Keeper. Hopefully that was simple, it was clean, it should be sinking in now that you can do this stuff, right? You develop the knowledge, you develop the ability to explain these concepts, you develop the skills it takes to find one of these properties. Then you can also find the funding. You can buy it. You know how to find a tenant if there isn't one already there. You're going to stabilize that property. Once it's stable and everybody's winning, you'll be looking for the next property. Very exciting. We've got a down market that's going to remain down for a long time. We know the 90s market stayed down for 6 years. I really think this one has to stay down longer. I really think you have a big window of opportunity. Think about it. If you collected only one of these Magic Keepers per year for the next 5 years, right? 5 of these. The equity involved in the capture here was over 40,000. So if you captured 40,000 times 5, you already have a couple $100,000 of what we call now equity. It's equity even down here at low prices. These duplexes sold for over 350,000 at the top. Are they going back there? Probably. We just don't know when. But let's say they don't. Let's say they only go to 250. They only go to 2.25. Right? You paid 85 or 90. I know every market's going to have different numbers, but I'm telling you, there's areas out there that are similar to mine all across America. Heck, opportunities might be better where you are. In our videos, we're going to teach you how to look for these. We're going to teach you the numbers. We're going to figure out which methods are working in your area for you to buy these, and you can get yourself some magic keepers. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video.